Greetings, viewer. We're having a little quiz, and we have 4 participants. To my left, we have, say your name loudly. Alvin. Yes. Joseph. And Wambui. Good. Question number 1. They have been studying about this gentleman, and I'll just formulate questions right from the top of my head. Who was this famous guy who was very involved with anti-slavery movement that you read about this afternoon? Just answer. Whoever answers first gets a point. Go.
Frederick Douglass.
Okay. John gets the mark because he got the spelling. Frederick, she got the pronunciation right. Frederick Douglass. Let's give a point to Joanne. Where was Frederick Douglass born?
On a plantation.
Thank you, Alvin. 1 point goes to Alvin. On a plantation. You don't put up your hand, just answer. Whoever answers first gets their point. And 1 point to Alvin. He went through certain experiences in his lifetime. What did he begin as? Anybody? When he first arrived in the US, or the new lands then, I don't know what they were called. What did he become? What did he become? What did he come to the US to do? To tour?
No.
What did he come to do?
A writer. He came to read and write. A writer.
All right, all of you got it wrong. He came to work as a slave. After working as a slave, was he happy or not? Not happy. 1 point for Marian. Wambui. And so what did he begin doing? What did he begin doing as a result? Answer?
Reading and writing.
He began writing. Yeah. 1 point for Wambui. And what was he writing? Okay, about? Or what was he generally? What were his writings about? Because what was he rather?
He was writing about slavery.
We talked about this. He was writing about civil rights. Now, which state was he working? When he was working as a plantation, which state was he?
Maryland.
Maryland. Joanne goes 1 mark to Joanne. When he was growing up, was he near his mother or his parents?
No.
No. Correct, Wambui. He was not near his mother. He was away from his mother. That must have been hard. Because he moved around to different slave owners, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Was his childhood easy or hard? Hard. 1 point. Because he was what?
An only child.
No.
Childhood.
Because he was a
Childhood.
Wait, please speak loudly.
Childhood.
Because he was a slave, isn't it? And he was owned by slave owners because he was moving around to different slave owners. So his life was hard as a child. Now, when children were born into slavery, were they allowed to go to school?
No. I got it first.
Okay. So life was very hard. Are you happy that you're allowed to go to school, even during Corona?
Yes.
This is what you call community-based learning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Please don't fidget. Now, one of the slave owners had a wife who started to do what? A kind slave owner.
Anti-slavery.
They began to do what?
Anti-slavery.
What did they begin doing to Frederick? What did this wife start doing to Frederick to make his life better?
Teaching him to write and read.
Correct. He was taught in secret. It was not allowed. The slaves were not actually allowed to go to school. But this lady saw something in Frederick and actually taught him to read and write. So Frederick was hardworking. And but when the slave owner found out that his wife was teaching him, he said that Frederick should not know how to read. Did Frederick Douglass love to learn? Did he love?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'll give a point to everybody because you all answered. Joseph, you need to answer more questions. Now, as he grew older, what did Frederick Douglass focus on?
Freedom.
Oh, wonderful, of freedom. Are you happy that you have freedom, boys and girls?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Freedom to do what? To
do what you can want to do. What do you want to do?
To make yourself?
Do what you want to do.
So that you become
happy.
Better and happy, isn't it?
Yeah.
As long as you're respecting others and you're being resourceful. So to be able to come to school or to class or to read is a great privilege, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now you've learned that there are people who could not learn how to read and write. In today's world, we have people who do not have the opportunity to go to school, such as, this is a general question. Did you know that in today's world there are some people who can't go to school? For different reasons. Some of those reasons include what? Children? Answer. Whoever answers,
Coronavirus.
Okay, pandemics or diseases. That's good. Wow, somebody has got a lot of points. Please add more points.
Sick.
Because they're sick. Oh, you're almost getting your 10 points. Come on, why do people not go to school today? You know very many reasons. Already that. Yes, Joseph. Because the parents simply cannot afford, right? Okay, let's give Joseph a mark, even if he never. Because they do not have the school fees, because they don't have work, they don't have jobs, right?
Yeah.
So that is why I run this free program. Yeah? Because I'm trying to give people power. Well, because they don't have jobs, yes. Not really. You can be rich even if you don't have a job, because you can be very strong, and you can be very kind, and you can volunteer, like I'm volunteering and other people are volunteering. So you can be healthy and still you don't have a job, so you're still not poor per se, but the school fee sometimes is very high and many parents cannot afford. And that's why I've been volunteering here for 12 years. And that's why we need people to do what? To support by the program by doing what?
Subscribing.
By subscribing. Thank you very much. So you've heard from the children, we need to subscribe. Let's continue checking the story about Frederick Douglass. So he never gave up. He started focusing on gaining freedom. What is freedom?
The freedom is the power to know what you want to do.
Freedom, thank you very much, is the power to do what you want to do. People who were enslaved had a very difficult time. They did not have rights, like rights. What are the different rights? Haki in Kiswahili, right? Rights to
eat.
Okay, no, actually they could be given. They would have to be given food because they would die if they don't eat.
Yeah, education.
Right to education. So you see, when you're told to read a story and you don't read, isn't that not taking advantage of your rights? You know, education is very important.
Yeah.
Very, very, very important. You see, this young man, he was not allowed even to be taught to read by a volunteer. Because why do you think people don't want you to have knowledge? Let me see a very sharp person. Why are people wanting you to remain in the dark and not have knowledge? Because they want to? They want to?
They want you to never have education.
So that you never have any control over your life. You're always a slave. You have to keep just working for them. You don't have ideas. You don't become creative. You cannot develop ideas. You cannot create things like what, Juguna? What would you like to make when you grow up? Or what are you trying to create? Alvin? Like you cannot build your own house.
Me?
You cannot do your own farming.
I would like to build an aeroplane.
You'd like to build an aeroplane. Thank you.
I would like to build a big house
A big house.
for my family.
Yeah. That will come through education, most probably, isn't it? Right? Because when you have knowledge, you have power. Yes. Good. So, thank you very much. We have read about Frederick Douglass, a very inspiring story. Let me conclude the story. So, the freedom we've seen is the power to do what you want to do. People who were enslaved had a very difficult time. They did not have rights. They did not have rights. This meant that the owners could treat them in terrible ways. He thought of ways to escape from slavery. Did he escape?
Yes.
Correct. Oh, you've already filled your marks. So Frederick escaped. I wonder how he escaped. Can anybody tell us how did he escape? Finally, he did it. He pretended to be... How did he escape? He pretended to be what?
Sick.
No? How did he escape? What game plan did he... How did he escape?
New York.
He pretended to be a...
New York.
You guys didn't read. I thought you were reading this. He pretended to be a sailor. You never read that part. He pretended to be a sailor and carried papers that showed that he was a free black person. He escaped to New York City. This was very risky. You never read that part of the story? Joanne, you never read that Frederick had to pretend to be a sailor and carried papers that showed that he was a free black person? You never read? When I was telling you to read out there, you never read? So you didn't know how this man escaped from slavery? Did you discover? How did he escape? By pretending to be a...
Sailor.
Okay, and when he went, he carried papers and went to... That he was a free... He carried fake papers, so to speak, to show that he's a free black person. He escaped to New York City. This was very risky. When Frederick Douglass lived in New York, his life was not easy either. He worked with other people to end slavery. He told stories about when he was enslaved. What did he do? He was a what?
Writer.
He was a writer. Well done. You're already full with your points. He was a writer and he'd write about his experiences. So sometimes writing is a very good thing. When I tell you to write a story, sometimes you may not say it, but when you write it, it goes on record. So have a habit of writing your experiences. You can write down your prayers. You can write when your prayers are being answered. Okay? Okay? You can write many things. Okay? So that is an inspiring story about Frederick. Sorry for staying very long. I am inspired by Frederick that he was really courageous. He grew up without a mother. He never went into despair, but rather used his gifts of writing to fight or to soldier on through freedom, or to gain his own freedom. How did he gain his freedom? Through writing. Through writing stories and talking about how to end his slavery. And he had the power to write stories because he went to school, and who began teaching him? The wife of... You guys look very tired. The wife of the slave owner. Right. Thank you very much, viewer. And that was the reading comprehension class. They need to do more reading so that they're able to answer questions. Thank you, Wamboi. You answered most questions. That's because you've read most books. I want to encourage you people to read so that you can be able to answer more questions. Okay? Yeah. Thank you very much, Ria. Would you say bye?